Good afternoon. Jeff here with WooodTech Armory. I'm going to show you how to put together a Mandalorian blaster that I have 3D printed. First, I'd like to give a big shout out to Hex 3D on Patreon for making these really cool Yoda baby Christmas ornaments. And also I'd like to give a shout out to Onyx Media, one of the best 3D designers out there. I'd always give them a look if you need something designed to print out. First off, we have our main body. It's got a few holes here. These are where the different parts plug into the blaster. Right here, and here at the trigger, here at the hammer, and then on the other side there's the little slide cover that was on the Bergman pistol that we imitated. And then you have a groove right here that your slide action right here goes into. This slide action, all this is very tight tolerances, so it's a little bit difficult to get started. Once you get it in there, you just push it down, and it takes a little bit of oomph to get it. Sorry about that. And sometimes I'll just tap it with a hammer a few times. Okay, so now it's in there flat. You probably don't need to glue that piece. Next piece is the cover, the slide action cover. It has a spot on the front here that the barrel goes into, and then on the side there is a little bar that will go across there that basically kind of created the guide for when, in the real pistol, when you pulled it back to cock it. So you just, there's two little grooves on each side of this, one right here and one right there. So you stick about in the middle of your slide action here with the holes facing toward the barrel end, and you put it about halfway in the middle of that groove. You put it over the top, or the bottom side of that groove, and then gently pull that over the top of the action there, and then you just slide it back into place. And there you go. And the next off is the barrel. I print it laying down. It gives it a little bit of a flat spot on the bottom, but it makes for a stronger barrel. I printed one just like this, and I dropped the blaster and it broke off. So I've learned to just print them sideways. It gives it a lot more strength. And here is the flash suppressor, or muzzle end there. And what I'll do is take the end here and line it up to where where that flat spot is directly on the bottom underneath your sight, and push it, give it a little twist, and push it into place. And once you have it seated there, the original Bergman had a longer barrel than what the Mandalorian's barrel is. So I adjusted it to represent that same length that's on the Mandalorian's blaster. Next, take some super glue, place it some here in the end right here, and along the guide here, and put some here on the end of the barrel. And slide it in, push it down, and make sure it's lined up straight. Okay, don't shoot yourself in the head while doing that. Push it in nice and flat there so it's all even. Okay, So now the next part, I'll let this sit for just a little bit. The next part are all the little small pieces that you see here in front of us. You got your slide guide here, and then here is your sight piece. There was a cleaning rod on there. This is a very fragile piece. It'd be cool if you could find a real one and put it on your blaster. Then this is the little guide holder, the cleaning rod holder. Then this right here is kind of a little knob switch that will go on the end of this. You have your cover, and there was like a little knob or a button right here. When you print these out, it'll be one piece. This piece will just pop off, and then you can glue it into place to make it sure it doesn't fall off. Then you got your hammer. The hammer was very close to a DL44 blaster like Han Solo uses. It wasn't like the hammer that was on the Bergman at all. And I got a few little pins. There's a two-sided pin that you have right here. It goes in on one side of the trigger, and then another pin will slide into it on this side. And we got like a little nut that will go on the cleaning rod cover. And you got your trigger here. Okay, so next I'm going to take this little knob, little switch bolt, I guess you could say, and you put it inside of the slide action here. A lot of times, so all these tolerances on these are very tight, so if it doesn't fit, take an X-Acto knife and just kind of fiddle around there, waller it out. I'm from the south, you can tell. Do that on both sides. And then we'll try it again. Still not quite enough. There we go. So now that's in there. And then you will take it and it will go into this hole right here, and the slide action will go right here. You will probably need to clean out that little hole there with your X-Acto knife or little trimmers here. Okay. Stick some super glue, clean the crud off of there. And does it fit? Okay. I believe it will. So stick some super glue in there. You probably don't really need to. And then some super glue in this groove here. And then push this down into the groove like that. Push it down all around and push that down flush. So now it looks like that. Okay. So there's the main part of your gun. It's all put together. Next, I will glue on the sight piece. just run some super glue across the top here, or on this piece here. And when you set it there, it will sort of fit into place in the edge of that slide groove right here. It will just kind of sit in there real nice. And it would be highly recommended to give it that extra sturdiness, to just get you a drill with a small drill and drill a hole here, and get you a couple little brass screws, little small brass screws, and screw it down into place, and that would guarantee that it doesn't fall apart. Super glue does hold very well on this PLA plastic. It like bonds to it. Okay, so next will be this piece right here. So this piece will fit just like this, like that, and you have a pin right here that goes in there, like so, just like that. And then you will take your X-Acto knife and clean that hole out just a little bit. You can also use a small drill bit or something like that too. Run you some super glue right there, and then I put some super glue on this side. It just holds it into place. Push that into place like so. Okay, so there you go. And then you'll take your little circle here, trim off the edges if you can, just kind of make sure it doesn't have any barbs or anything, like so. My printer actually prints a tree support underneath a piece that's that thin. It's a little overkill, but it needs it really, because otherwise the ones where it doesn't, occasionally it won't print it there. I guess that different printers read the code differently for some reason. Then it will usually not turn out, and I have to end up printing out another piece. The barrel's still not dry yet. So you got it like that. Okay, so now your next piece is your cleaning rod. Set that there. So your cleaning rod is this and this. On the show, it has it facing like that. That way you don't, when you pull it in and out of your holster, you're not going to catch this part in. And it has it down a fair amount, a ways down, probably about like so, because your safety switch will go right here. And you'll just glue, the easiest thing to do is just glue that into place right here and right here. Okay. And set that on there. Just kind of hold it into place like that. And have it where the little groove part, or little hole, which would be for probably putting like a little pull chain or a rag or something to help feed it through the barrel on the real gun. So I'll let that sit for a moment, and I will get the piece, the cover on it. There's a groove here. I'm going to probably see if we can get it designed so this is just a little larger because you cannot feed that cleaning rod into this piece. It will either break or it just will not fit. It's too big. And then we'll take the nut and glue it on place like so. These sometimes will pop right on, and sometimes you might have to give it a little tap. Push down. Here we go. Heard that pop? Okay, so now you have your nut there, and then it will go right here, and that will push into place right there. So we'll take the X-Acto knife again, clean out this little hole. Run some super glue there. About threw it off the table. And then push it down in that hole and just over the top part of the cleaning rod, as you can see there. Okay, so there you go. Next piece is this little teeny tiny guide bar. You'll have to clean it up pretty good on the edges there, and around this part, this will end here, is a little circle, and it will fit into this little hole right here, and it'll go through this groove and attach on that side over there. Now occasionally where the circle is a little tight or a little snug there, so if it is like this is, I've taken an X-Acto knife and just gently clean out that little guide right there. Just knock a couple little layers off, like so. And then see if that'll fit. There we go. And it looks like it's going to go in, so put some super glue right there, in that groove there, and on this end right here. Push it down. It's going to stick to my finger. So, there we go. So now it's in there. And then there's a little teeny tiny nut. I mean, it is little. You probably wouldn't even miss it if it was missing. Right there. So what you do on that is take your X-Acto knife, there's a little hole right there, and just kind of clean that out a little bit. Get your super glue. push it into that little hole. Like so. Usually just give it a little tap. There we go. Nice and flat now. So there we go. Okay, we only got a couple things left. There's a little round donut looking piece here. For the life of me, I was like, what in the world does this go to? I couldn't remember. I looked and looked and looked and looked and finally figured out that it was this end piece here. Like on the end of the gun, you would be able to unscrew that and pull out probably the spring mechanism there. So put a little dab of super glue there. And then set that like so. There you go. And then we got this piece here. This is not on a Bergman, but it is on the show. And it goes right here. It's probably so that you can mount a scope to it. Maybe they'll have that in future episodes. But basically it just sits like that. And so I'll take some super glue, put on the edge on that side right there. And putting it into place. Put some on this other side. I can flip it over. There we go. Okay. So there we go, just like that. Kind of an odd piece. And then next is your hammer and your trigger piece. These are pretty straightforward. You'll need to clean this hole out pretty good for that pin to fit in there. Stick it into place here. Look at it and see if the holes line up. It needs just a little bit of cleaning out, it looks like. And you're wanting for this little pin here to go. Oh, I cleaned out the trigger hole. Whoops. So you want this pin to be able to slide in to that spot. Okay, it's going in that way. Let's see if it goes in this way. Well, it doesn't quite yet. There we go. And then then see if it will also go through your trigger. Okay, not quite. There we go. So now that it goes through, let's see if we can get it to go through. All three of them at once. Okay, so line up the hole the best you can and start pushing that through. I like to give it just a small tap. So it's gone through most of the way. It's being stubborn. Hold on just a second. Okay, got it in there. And give it a little more work on that one hole. And then I'll super glue that in the spot like that and push the hammer up into place like that. Okay. And then your trigger here, you have this little nut or little push pin that goes through. And like I said, it's got like a little hole right here on this end. Let's see if I can get it to feed in there. Okay. And then you have your trigger. Doesn't give you a lot of room to put that trigger in place. It just barely fits in there, so you gotta be diligent on it. Once you get it started, it will go. There we go. And then slide it up into place. Okay, so you look at it and say, okay, is the hole lined up? Just about is. I'm going to slide it down just a little bit. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. And then once you get it into place, then there's another small pin that I have misplaced somewhere. I'll have to look through my box, and you'll put it right here and push those together and glue it. And then the safety piece will go on this side right here. I accidentally broke it when I was cleaning it off, so I'll have to get another one out of my box. And I just glue it into place right here, going from here down to here if you look at it on the video, on the pictures of it. And then I have included wood filament grips which are very slick, obviously. And go like that. So there you go. The Mandalorian Blaster by WooodTech Armory and Onyx Media. We'd like to be your source for all the cool props that are 3D printed for the upcoming shows that will be all over, hopefully. It sure is nice to have some cool Star Wars stuff to once again be a fan of. So I hope you enjoy my video. It's a little long, but it showed you exactly how long it took to put this gun together, just right at 30 minutes. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.